as I begin recording. So, starting last session, Angus visited a rather frustrated Princess Tora, who apparently had a recent argument with the High King, her father, about the changing of the Iron Guard for Black Hand mercenaries. She apparently none too pleased about the recent decrees. Angus also acquired Tora's blessing to name the now liberated Underhold of Northolm, a place to be colonized or settled by the Silver Kingdom. Perhaps Angus has been prepared by the ancestor gods for something to come. Angus also revealed to her everything he had encountered in the bog, the ring, Bron's connection with it, the fact that you had cleansed it, and you confided with her about religious matters, about his visions. And by the end, Tora was given much to think about. Jar spoke the Archmage Reinald Hammerstone of the Sapphire Assembly, confiding in him about mistakes she's made in the past, about her membership of the Black Hand, a deal with the Hag, among other things. In a true moment of character development, she told him of lessons she's learned. Jar also told him about the possible fallout in the far eastern country of Targovia within the Commonwealth, where she took her hunter's test to join the Langsmoor branch of the Hunter's Keep. Reynolds revealed information about a string of assassinations of political figures throughout the Commonwealth. That perhaps the recently returned vampire lord, Elizabeth von Dragul, might be responsible. Will Targovia fall to Elizabeth? Only time will tell. Vellum visited the Gemstone Quarter to search for exotic goods of Kateshi or Alchamic origin, and found a couple of things of note. First being that a representative of Hefsut's regime in Niobe was present, likely handing out propaganda ordered by Black Hand guardsmen. Second of note was a shady dealer selling a mysterious Alchamic staff. Vellum managed to swindle the swindler, acquired it for the cost of a young green dragon horn and a few thousand gold. From its original price of, I think it was like 15, 16 odd thousand? 18, there we go. 18,000 gold. And he also, with a few good deception rolls, as well as throwing around his authority a bit, and as a member of the Security Council, a bit odd, perhaps some latent darkness from his torment at the hands of Morthax, but in any case, it was revealed to be a powerful magic item capable of shining sunlight. We all then discussed the strange goings on here in Doonhollow, about the odd decrees being made by the High King. Thoughts then veered towards small creatures you encountered during your time underground, rescuing Tora from the clutches of the deep ones. When you encountered small creatures shaped like brains, intellect devourers they were called. Some theories were presented. Maybe the High King might be a victim of one of them. The counter theories abound that perhaps it's because of blind paranoia that he's acting this way. But ultimately it was decided that more research needed to be done. In the meantime, you have an appointment at the Doonheart Forge.
I'm telling you, this is a great scimitar. It's a shame to turn it to dust, but you know what? I've got a feeling, Liska, once you hold that... What is it? You wanted to lance a pike? Once you hold that new stick of yours and you stab quicker than lightning, it'll be worth it.
I don't know, I have a feeling that it will turn to dust and it'll be fine. We'll just manage to get the enchantment off. And it's a glaive. But you have fun with it. I don't really Like you and Sao and Vellum have fun.
Well, I'll go do that for a while. I'm pretty sure it turns to dust. Right? The sword's gone, just so you know.
I mean, it's a scimitar sword. It's fine, but I have a feeling it
Okay.
doesn't.
Alright.
Then we'll find out, won't we?
Yes, you will. Have fun. Do your
Have fun with all of
dwarven
your...
forgery things.
His hand goes like up and down and gestures in a circle. All of your grand keep hunter lady business. You have a great time with that, and all of you and your trophies and all. Oh! I almost forgot. You remember back when we were going on the way to the bog and there was the big dragon and there was the impressive fight and it ran up and it right through the skull with the stone? Do you still have that skull?
Yes. Do you
I'd
want
like to talk. I'd like to talk about getting that off your hands later.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And she reaches into her bag of clothing and just like pulls out a young dragon skull. It's like, hey, here, have at it.
Are you sure? I was gonna offer to pay. As his hands start kind of going out and the fingers wiggling a little bit.
I mean, like, if you want to, I won't say no, but like, it's its own thing. If you want to pay, fine. But no, you are the one that killed it, you know. Seems fitting. Seems okay.
Well, thank you kindly. I'll find a way to pay this right back. I'll put some extra care into this as he pats the scimitar. This job for you.
Right. Well, do you have like? Because I mean, this thing's almost as big as you are. Do you have like a place to put it, or do you just want me to hold on to it for a bit, or like?
You know what? I was gonna put it in the old steam hammer, but I can't really do that right now. Can I ask you to hold on to it for me a little bit longer?
Yeah, sure, that is fine. So just take it, put it back in the bag. Like, yeah.
Lovely.
Well, have fun doing your runic stuff. So, yep. And
Right. I
let's
shall
go.
return.
Let's go. We can go back to. I think they were. Yeah,
People
she's just gonna head
surviving
back to
in
the.
the
Yeah, she's just gonna go back to the keep. Continue surviving.
Alright.
I don't know if you'll need me here. I possibly might need to talk to someone else about some ancestors of mine.
Who is she addressing?
Angus.
Oh. Well, we're at the keep now. He's gonna like turn to you like, I don't really need you here at all. I'm a guest, so I don't need anybody to do anything here except hopefully rest well. If you need to talk to ancestors, I think that's a right, proper, and good priority. Do you know who
Right.
and what to do to go about that?
I do. It requires. I know who to talk to. I just need to find the person to help me. It's a ritual amongst my people.
I do not know that, but he goes to reach up and try and get you, the stern hand on the shoulder. can't. It's like
Leans down.
it just kind of does like the little tap against the meaty tail. Just that's a good thing to do. Well, I'm gonna be on the Doom's Heart district and meander back here with the beat. But I'm wearing the earring if you need me or anyone else. We all have it on. Just send us a little chat. Remember, if you don't focus on the person, it goes to everybody. So if it's a private or a surprise, yeah, fine.
Right, I'll remember that. Alright, I'll be heading off to the gym. Stone Quarter.
Of course. Right.
And off she goes.
Alright. Vellum, what are you doing right now? Are you going to join Angus, or are you going to do your own thing? Yeah.
Presumably Angus is going to go do the yoinking
I'm
of
gonna go do
enchantments.
smithing. Yes.
Then yeah, good to learn as much as you can about the things so that you can do the things gooder later.
Alright. Okay, so we'll start with Angus and Vellum here. So you make your way to the Doonheart district into Doonheart Forge. Chorus of hammers or hammer falls rings throughout the grand cavernous chamber within the. Where's my? Sorry, I'm just.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, give me a brief moment.
In your ears and the pounding in your chest, the sound in the air, all the anvils. It's good to be where you're smithing, isn't it?
It is. It's a bit different than a lot of what we've been seeing lately. So it's a nice change of pace.
Aye. This place is just as dim as a Morbog is, but somehow permeates with way more of the glow. Maybe it's the heart of passion and the fire burning within, or the magma beneath the floor don't fall. But it's positively glowing here.
Could be that it's not just full of the undead as well. That probably helps.
That's good too. Tell me, lad, what sort of smithery, crafting goodness do you want to get up to?
Mostly here to observe how the hell you do this and help if I can, but I figure all my projects will be on the road. Got a long trek to where we're headed.
Yeah, I'm still learning, but from what I understand, there's Doonheart's Forge, which is a mystical fire, and it will pretty much burn up anything you throw into it and let you understand the very essence of the runes itself. But I'm no expert yet, so if I happen to, start slipping up, I always appreciate the hand. So thanks for tagging along.
You make your way through. You see crowds of dwarven pilgrims and worshippers from all stripes from across the world have come here to worship not just Doom, but also the art of the hammer, forge, and anvil. You see, suspended within the centre of the chamber, wherein the sort of great outer rings observe. You see, stood upon great pillars of volcanic rock that extend deep into the central magma chamber below. You see the ancient, reverently preserved structure of what was once Doom's very own forge, as you know. The cleric of the forge. Above it hangs this massive, familiar, sort of luminescent blue-white crystal that comes to this gradual point directly above the enormous anvil that sits in the very centre of this ancient structure. It's like you're observing the massive underside of an enormous iceberg hanging from the cavern ceiling like a tremendous stalactite. And a single squat figure stands at the anvil. Flashes and sparks, a resonating clang echoing through the cavern. Onlookers watch with awe as the anvil is struck. With each strike, the massive crystal above emits this glowing light and reverberates a single, deep, harmonious tone that is sustained by the hundreds of unseen choirmen that hum this deep baritone note to aid in the forging process. Like this symphony of the forge. Anyone wants to chime in at any point, feel free.
Is that my boy? That's my boy, isn't it?
Looks like your boy.
That's my boy.
You see a small number of armoured priests who just stop you as you try to enter through the steel gates that lead up to this ancient structure. They're dressed in plate and robes covered in ceremonial runic sigils. Typically, Angus, that it's considered bad form and bad luck to interrupt a particularly skilled blacksmith during his work.
Be a bad omen.
Indeed. Though after about 5 minutes, you see that the figure at the anvil seems to notice your group at the gate. He signals to the rune priests to open the gate and allows you to ascend the steps to the ancient forge. There's whispers and murmurs spreading through the crowd who gather, and it's rare that almost anyone gets to meet with the Rune Lord himself, the Rune Lord of Doonhollow, let alone set foot onto the ancient site of the forge itself. But you make your way up to... Do I have a thing for him? A handout. I do not, my bad. Should have transferred that over to Foundry, oh well. So you make your way up to Dengar's station. A number of rune priests are also there, assisting him as forge hands. You can see sort of withered old dwarven face, liver spots everywhere, partly bald, on the front to the top of his forehead, where you can see that massive bolt of mithril, the sort of larger mithril plate sort of bolted onto his forehead with a runic sigil engraved upon it. This is large beard that falls all the way to his knees, almost sort of blocking out the entire apron. Sort of simple smith's apron adorned with all sorts of ceremonial runic sigils, simple boots, trousers, no shirt, and you can probably understand why from the sweltering heat here in the centre of this structure. It sort of wipes the sweat from his forehead. Despite his age, he is extremely well built, standing about you can see Bellum about a head over Angus. You see runic patterns ripple over his arms, shimmering with enchanted ink. He kind of turns towards you.
Does he have the character sheet?
No, I need to transfer. I forgot to transfer that over from Roll20.
That's okay. This is Dengar, right?
Yeah, this is Dengar Runemaul. Rune Lord of Doonhollow. And he says, Arngrim. Vellum. Oh, it's been quite a while since I've seen your faces.
Dengar, you flux-filled old fart. They're letting you break something at the forge again? And he gives a very overt wink as he's looking to his mastercraft.
Yep. And he approaches you, just a forearm grip. He's very strong. And it kind
Yes,
of
he is.
sets you off kilter for a little moment.
He's bigger than me. He's
Yeah.
heavier than me. And he's taller than me.
Yeah.
Like a fucking cup that's tittering on the edge. Angus stays upright, but kind of rocks side to side and has to catch himself on his feet.
You know, the last I saw of you, of the both of you, you and your friends were on your way out into the world. You know,
Aye!
And he kind of sets his large blacksmith's hammer to the side.
I'd like to hear what you've been up to.
Well,
Should turn down.
we've had adventures. He kind of looks to Vellum. Go on, you can say hi to you. Or do you not really, you know, have the sunshine in your pants for that?
Well, I figure you probably want to give him the whole spiel, what with the cold and all.
Aye. He looks you up and down, and he gives you a little nod. He thinks it's pretty clear, even with just passive insight, that he's like, oh yeah, that's the reason why. Wink. Like, don't worry, I'll cover for you, buddy. Well, we've been on great adventures, you see, going through the Moorbog on foot. Well, on the hammer you helped build. Thanks, it's working great. We've been adventuring. We've killed, 3 dragons. One of them twice.
You see, as Dengar's taking sort of a jug from a nearby ancient shelf and sort of pours himself a stein of water, chugs it. He does a sort of and just sort of a slight spit take at the mention of killing 3 dragons.
Well, to be fair, one was pretty young. The Grand Huntress has the skull of it from when I threw a pebble through it. As he just kind of like kicks his heel up and tucks himself in and
Threw a pebble through a dragon's skull. Well, I never.
Aye. We went through and managed to survive the bog and kill a necromantic dragon trying to turn into some... What do you call it? The skeleton zombie dragon thing, but... Well, I forget the word. What's the word you use?
Lich or something like that.
Lich. Aye. A dragon lich.
Well, that sounds
It's a
mighty
lich, have
terrifying.
you? A Legan. That's what it is, a Legan.
Right.
Lich dragon. Either way. Oh, the first time we killed that thing, Vellum made this giant harpoon covered in hooks look like a spear made out of 100 little fishing hooks, but they were all this length out of a fucking hand. We impaled it right through and killed her dead and started cutting her up, and she exploded because she was a soul stone and had a weird flesh ball thing. But that was hidden in Mortholm, the lost city, which we went into because she took it over, and we got the base and liberated it and freed the old souls, and we figured out some important thing about some curses I need to talk to you about really badly. And he starts straining to say that as his volume drops drastically.
His brow sort of furrows for a moment. Big, bushy, kind of silvery eyebrows, and his tiny beady eyes sort of squint for a moment.
We had a revelation, but then after that we went along and we got out and we solved the issue, and there were some problems, and we basically just imprisoned the soul of the Lich so she could never come back. And then there was a great party afterwards at the southern wall where we got rid of the rest of the spies. And we all went well, and then there is some more little magic crafting.
You best slow down, lad. I'm not. Sometimes I got trouble hearing a lot of this stuff. I'd like to go over with you with all of this after my shift. Maybe have a drink.
Sure. You know, I'd love to give you a drink. In fact, he's gonna reach into his little bag of holding and pull out a pitcher that he has of the Oaken Enigma. That's special, and you're like, I brought you a souvenir, reclaimed from a barrel lost from ages past in a buried dwarven fort. Well, is it more of a watchtower, to be honest? Here, have this. It's potent. Actually, no, as he kind of pulls it back. We're a little too close to the fire. Your breath will ignite from this. It's not a joke. I will.
He kind of gives you another look for a moment.
Come on, give me that.
There you go. As he passes it over. Aye. But no, seriously, wipe down the beard before you go back to the flames. I made that mistake myself.
And with that, he does kind of swish out his mouth with the rest of the water for a moment, spits it away, and takes a big old chug of this ale.
A dwarven sip.
He blinks for a moment, and you can definitely tell he's sensing the spice.
Taste all the flavors.
He kind of gulps it down.
You weren't wrong. Oh, I'll tell you what. Watch this. Bit of a show for the audience.
And with that, he kind of takes another swig, looks around, and just this spout of fire just off the side of the ruins.
Oh, would I wouldn't good to be able to just do that.
It helps when you're blessed by the forge.
Hey.
Right, so, speaking of forges, what brings you all to mine? What can I help you with? Oh, have you been practicing your runecraft, lad?
We have, and in fact, we've come to hopefully partake in some of your wisdom. As I said, down in the southern wall, we helped them out a bit and earned some favours, and, well, they picked up one of these. He pulls up the scimitar of speed, probably the sheath or just wrapped up. I want to figure out how this is made so I can imbue that force onto a glaive for a blue dragon. Do you remember the lass that carried the giant rock across the finish line instead of me king? Well, she's my travel buddy, of course, and the Grand Huntress, and, well, she wants a long pokey stick with this on it, so that's what I want to do.
Right, I see that for a moment.
Passes it over.
Kind of examines it for quite a while. You can see him scanning his eyes over it, and you watch him flash this brilliant, sort of radiant blue light, and his gloved fingers brush over the metal, revealing the glow of subtle runes that you hadn't seen there before.
The master's touch, as he looks up at Pelham.
That's interesting craftsmanship. The form is not most expertly forged, but the enchantment is finely made. I suspect it may have bonded with a number of other weapons before this one. Aye, this can be disenchanted. Have you done this before?
No.
Well then, consider this a new lesson in your journey to Runecrafter. Perhaps I can show you.
Aye, that would be a great journey. Just quickly nudge, elbowing Vellum in probably the thigh hip area.
Which is
Just
Dengar sort of smirks at you, Vellum.
You want to know how it's done as well, lad?
I do. Improving my craft means knowing everything that can be worked with it.
Hey, then gather round. Come here.
He kind of ushers you all around the massive Doonheart anvil. This artifact of legend. And he continues.
Now, one must first know how to weave the magic of runes before attempting such to strip the magic from an object. It is this knowledge of runecraft that will allow you to focus on the magic tangled within, and then untangle it. It is this magic that mutually binds both item and enchantment together during the enchanting process. If the magic is stripped from the item, the destructive feedback invariably causes the bound item to crumble.
nods his head up and down.
This process is more taxing and more destructive the more potent the enchantment is. But, thankfully, the runic magic in this anvil,
And he kind of pats the Doonheart anvil.
is powerful enough to absorb and withstand anything you throw at it. If you're successful, you'll be able to identify every last minute technique needed to imbue the magic into the item. I like to think of it as the Silver Lord reaching into our minds to grant us knowledge, the potential to create what we have destroyed, to breathe new life into new creations, just as we take the breath from a previous project.
Now, that gives a good question. If you don't mind me asking, Master Runemaw.
Aye?
Should you break this down and gather the power of its enchantment, is it then forever within you? So I may make a dozen of these types of swords? Or is it like a fleeting possession of knowledge? Like the spirit animated within you that you then put into something else? A capability to remake that item lost once it's stored in a new vessel.
Well, much like how one might use the very useful identify spell to know how a certain magic item functions, that information is forever stored up here.
And he kind of ting 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 tinks his runic plate on bolted into his forehead.
So long
Brilliant.
so long as you have the necessary components to make, rather to enchant the same enchantment on a new item, you can continually do so. And that's what makes runecrafters very valuable.
You see. I've but one more. My friend here, Master Harbridge, who's a prodigy of his own right. He has made things without runes that, to be honest, when I've looked at him with the greatest spectacle that I can, they are magical. Or at least that's how they seem. Yet my friend knows nary a cantrip nor spell. Kind of takes his chef's hat off and puts it over his chest. How might he do the runecraft?
Well, there are certain fundamental components that need to be made in order to create the runes. Catalysts, for example, are incredibly vital for the craft itself, as well as the mundane vessel for the enchantment. A magic item is nothing without its vessel.
I do remember something to that effect. I had plans to start making some catalysts at some point. Then he just sort of like... He has been focusing this entire time because it's with the craft and it's a reflex, but he sort of drifts off to the side as he was trying to remember what he had planned. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to be able to contribute to the overall works that we plan on making together.
There's no hope about it. You're excellent.
That's the thing about
So long as we can
runecraft.
open a window and get some sun in here.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of sun outside, lad. But that is the thing about runecraft. Does not take one party to do everything. You cannot do everything yourself.
You know, I've come to learn that lesson a little bit more, going through my own trials. And he's quite right, Willem. You can't do everything yourself. Sometimes you have to have a friend to help you out when things are a little harder. Or just when they can swing a hammer in the right spot at a different angle for you. So, thanks for being my hammer today.
Well, if I can help how I can, I will always do so.
Alright.
Right,
So,
so, let's get started.
and with that, he begins to show you the process of disenchanting magic items with the Dunehart Forge. And over the course of a couple of hours, he starts with 2 smaller magic items, a pair of small magical statues, which
I have smaller items. I have 2 smaller items that I got. And if he's gonna do a trial, be like, I have these and I want to learn how to do them,
Aha.
so that way he doesn't waste his students' materials. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so what smaller magic items are you giving him? Like what quality would they be?
I'm trying to see. Rare.
Right, okay. Hang on, let me just restart Soundscape here for a moment.
Absolutely.
There we go. So, what exactly are these items? What are they called? Ah, okay.
Sorry for the big thing. You can click it to contract.
Right. Yeah, I completely forgot about these. Alright then.
So I got these two at the wall, and I thought, well, shite, if I had a lot of these lads, as he points around to the armoured clerics with the robes, and they all had one of these, well, there'd be a lot fewer casualties, like, down there, and... Anyway, I was thinking this would be great. Could you maybe teach me how to do these as a trial run before we get to the big guy?
Well, I've never seen these before. Quite unique. Very well.
The same.
So he takes these two items, one after the other, we'll say. First we'll go with Life Burst. Let's see. He kind of shows you the basics of it over the course of the hour. He kind of labouring over the anvil, using your rune carver's tools to sort of etch into the runes revealed by the. So you sort of begin channeling your identify spell. You align those runes with those found on the ancient anvil. So you those runes that you're kind of revealing by tracing your hand over them with that spell in mind. Dengar sort of takes his hammer, reaches up and doom, tapping the tip of the gargantuan crystal above, and it rings out this faint chime like a tuning fork, which sort of spreads throughout the chamber. Kind of concentrate on that for an hour and kind of look about. You see a number of other projects, kind of small items and trinkets he's been working on either recently or over the years, like a nearby ancient shelf. It looks like some sort of pair of gauntlets woven with runes of fire and flame, a long sword that seems to shimmer with runes of thunderous energy, a relatively plain looking kind of small 1-inch metallic cube, and as this massive crystal rings out this faint chime like a tuning fork, it spreads throughout the chamber. That baritone chorus swells to maintain the tone, and you watch as faint tendrils of light descend and envelop the runes across the anvil, bringing it to life. The tone swells and grows as the hour comes to a close, and Dengar goes,
Now, strike the runes, lad.
Ting.
You reach up the hammer. Right, are you using like a box standard hammer, or are you using the Rune Lord's hammer?
I've got the Rune Lord's hammer.
Okay. You bring down the Rune Lord's hammer upon the mace. The runes now glowing across the surface like this intricately carved spider's web. The choir ceases, and the mace shatters into a million tiny particles, as if you've just shattered glass into sand, and your eyes cease to glow as you stop your spell channeling. Now you've cast Identify many times before, and you're used to the information sort of flooding into your mind. This takes a little more stealing of your mind to take in. This is your first time truly disenchanting an item. You now know everything needed to craft a life burst enchantment.
Yeah.
Now, I'll send that recipe to you after the game.
Absolutely.
So, you feel like you've got a good rhythm going. Next up is the Field Healer's Pauldron whenever you're ready.
Absolutely.
All right.
He resumes his little thing, kind of recenters himself, and takes his breath, And before he strikes his hammer, he does a little side glance to Vellum and sort of steels himself and does his very best to just the best form he can.
Alright. Partway through this channeling of the Identify spell, Dengar sort of gestures up towards... It seems to gesture up towards nothing, but you gather he's probably gesturing to those to that choir to increase their tone once more, and doom doom doom. He sort of rings that chiming crystal like a gong, resonates out once more. The choir swells, and Dengar then hands his hammer over towards you, Vellum.
Why don't you go and try and give it a try, lad?
Thank you. He has been focused entirely on the actions, the motions, even the parts he doesn't understand he's taking in, but then his attention snaps to the hammer. And he is hesitant given, it's his. But he carefully grips it and tries his hand at it.
All right.
Very careful focus.
You,
Scooch over.
as Angus finishes channeling the Identify spell, you come over, Vellum. You sort of angle the pauldron to sort of face you. You take that moment to aim, and then, as the tendrils of energy from the crystal completely envelop the runes, you ting strike the central rune on the pauldron, and it completely disintegrates into again a million pieces, as it just seems to almost turn in, it just evaporate completely. Your eyes briefly glow. I think because Angus is channeling the spell, so he'll get that knowledge. Once more, your eyes swell, Angus, and the knowledge of how to craft a field healer's enchantment swells into you. You now know.
Jolt backs a little bit. Oh, it's a lot different when you're not the one that strikes it. That's like a splash of cold water. But it's like it hits from the eyes and goes back round it. Oh, I didn't have me wall up for that one.
This is definitely different.
It's very different. But it's very captivating.
Alright, so I believe you wanted to do the scimitar last up, the very rare item.
Angus is going to pull out instead his tongs to hold on to the end, and he's going to shift to the horn of the anvil and hold on to it, and look to Vellum. Right, well, the master's watched and seen the rookie do it. Let's, as he continues that odd little glance he's been doing over to you, and then it sort of lingers. Let's see how you do it.
With a deep breath and almost sort of readjusts his grip on the hammer.
Kind of clears his throat and he looks
Right,
to you.
yeah, sorry.
And
Just
it looks
got lost in a minute.
Oh, it's I don't know. It just sort of seems like that one's made for dwarf's hands, you know. And he kind of starts peeking around.
I get you. I wasn't planning on taking all the fun. and he does hand the hammer back to its owner.
All right. So you want Dengar to do this one then?
No.
You
Angus
alluded
is-
to having the master do it, and thus.
No, he's looking at you and saying the master. And he's been stealing glances at you the entire time.
Right, I completely misconstrued that.
There you go. Okay.
He's been looking at you. He called you a prodigy earlier. Basic thing is he almost seems nervous looking at you and a little anxious but eager.
Right, well, I would like to rescind my action because I had no fucking...
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry, if I didn't make that clear.
No, you're
He's-
fine. I'm just very off today.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I didn't make it super cool. He's
Huh.
saying, oh, that looks like it's made for a dwarf's hand, you know, and he's staring at your bag of holding after that. Where you probably have your smith's tools and your own
Yeah,
personal hammer.
yeah, sorry, give me a second, get my head straight.
No, that's okay. He's
Yeah.
trying to be like, I know you like to use your tools.
Okay, because that last it made me think, like,
Yeah.
oh, anyway,
A lot of people seem out of it today. Well, I hope everyone's
Yeah.
feeling great. Fine, at least.
right, so, question, Jader.
Yes.
Dengar handed the hammer to me. Is this unique or particular in any way?
It looks very finely crafted. You gather it's probably fairly unique. Maybe handcrafted by Dengar himself.
Because I'm thinking, is this like a specialized tool for this task?
It seems like it would be a hammer fit for, say, a set of rune crafting tools.
Okay, so I am safe in the assumption that if I were to use my own tools, that this would still be fine, and I'm not about to like
Yeah,
botch it by
you could-
using the wrong tool.
You could use your own tools if you so wish, so long as they're rune crafting tools. And I know you're proficient in rune crafting, or at least Venomous, sorry.
Yes, yeah, I just have woodcrafters. I do.
Do you have rune crafting tools?
I do not. I
Oh.
presumed he was talking about Smith tools, but I never got around to getting any. I use Smith tools for the catalysts, and I've not made any runes yet. So either way, Venom will just readjust his grip. I don't. All I have is my Smith tools. I need something particular for this.
One moment.
And he kind of rummages around in his that sort of ancient stone shelf where you saw a number of those oddities before.
Let's see. Here we go.
Kind of brings back over this fairly weathered set of rune crafting tools. It looks like they've seen a fair bit of use, though not anymore. It seems these are. He's giving you hand-me-downs essentially.
Yeah, I get you.
Hey, feel free to take these. I don't quite need them anymore. They're just gathering dust on my shelf.
Very kind of you, sir.
So feel free. I'll feel free to just add a set of rune crafting tools to your. Actually, I need to put it over to your sheet.
Great.
You had your own tools, so I was trying to hint at that. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like it's never come up yet because we've been so busy with living that we've not really been crafting. So I haven't really gotten that far in my rune crafting practice yet. I guess he'll take these gratefully
Basic
And
rune
hand-
crafting tools.
and hand the hammer he was given back to its owner and use these.
Oh, right.
Use these tools in particular, and once more adjusts grip, gets a feel for the heft. So I guess you really do put me on too high of a pedestal here. And his eyes are glued onto the object.
All right. You kind of points out where to hit. Where there's a number of sort of runed conjunctions that they're sort of merged together in this one. It's almost like hitting a trying to collapse a structure, sort of hitting it in the right spot, which would cause all of the the rest of the support structure to collapse. But it's with this spidering network of runes that all seems to converge in this one spot that Angus has highlighted with his identify spell. And with that, you, with a resonating crack, you impact the blade. There's this surge of destructive energy that resonates throughout the entire long scimitar, and it completely evaporates. The large crystal above seems to glow with that resonating power, and you watch as Angus's eyes go wide as he seems to absorb that knowledge as well.
I thought he was getting this.
As whoever identifies it, because you are acquiring the knowledge.
Yes.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
There is your recipe
Hooray
for
recipes.
the of speed enchantment. Do you see that?
I do. I
All
sure
right.
do.
Okay.
Of speed.
Of speed.
Of speed.
Speed.
So, he kind of dusts off his hands after a good 3 hours of work made by all of you.
Well done, lads. You done me proud. So, is that all you came to me for? You're disenchanting a few things?
No, not quite.
Oh, here, the both of you, take water.
And he hands around the jug of water for you all.
Velen's almost sort of in a trance as he's putting his tools away, just lost in thought before the mug of water is presented. Oh right, yeah, thank you.
Kind of listens intently to you, Angus.
Yeah, we had that trip to the southern wall, and I talked about some things that happened there, and some of the things that happened in Morthholm. And well, he holds out the hammer to him and sort of passes it to him.
Kind of cocks a brow for a moment. You notice throughout the disenchanting process, he's been occasionally sort of eyeing that hammer every now and then, giving it a strange look.
Give me, I'd like 10 minutes. Just to sate my own curiosity.
You might want to look at these two. And he pulls out his currently attuned rune carver's tools.
Mm-hmm.
They're a set.
If it's alright, I think I'll excuse myself. I have some thinking to do and rest my muscles a bit.
Oh, very well, lad. Rest up.
Seems right.
Really appreciated your help. You did great work.
And this seems like
Nice.
dwarven business
Nice to see
anyway.
you, Smith. Oh, I
And he'll give a sort of bow to, like a little head bow to, sorry, to the master. Thank you again for your guidance.
Thank you, Vellum. You've done well today. You should be proud of yourself.
And with that, Vellum excuses himself.
Oh, before you go, swing by Bravix and say hello and pick up whatever you need to make one hell of a catalyst for this, as he taps his head.
Right, I'll swing by the market at some point. Grab what I need.
Alright.
With that, whoosh.
Okay then.
Is he okay? I noticed he seemed a bit out of it.
You know how I said we killed those dragons?
Aye.
Well, took us a while. Around a week. A week while he was there, and we weren't.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand.
He's been through a lot. And I'm just a bit worried. Sometimes he's not quite the bundle of sunshine you think he would be for being Orlstrom's lad. But I was hoping Crafton cheer him up.
Well, I certainly hope he, cheers us up soon. I shan't pray much. Seems like a personal matter.
But there's also these.
Right, one moment. I need to gather a few things.
And with that, I just realised my fucking voice volume was on full fucking blast.
Yeah, I did notice.
Yeah, right, my bad.
That's fine.
So,
I can bring you down.
you watch as he kind of takes the hammer and the rune carver's tools over to this sort of stone table and traces a few runes about it with his own set of rune carver's tools. He sort of takes out a number of small pebble-sized ivory lumps inscribed with small runic sigils and begins lighting some incense. You actually know this spell, Angus. This is legend lore.
Ah, yeah. I believe I even have that spell prepared right now. I do.
His eyes sort of flicker a light once again, and he begins to begin to dart across the air as if he's seeing visions unseen by you. His large, bushy brows rise, and his small, beady eyes widen. You know the father from Cloudy with a Chance to Meatballs?
Yes.
Yeah, the way his bushy eyebrows rise when he's surprised. It's sort of like that, you know. And this look of awe dawns upon his face. His eyes don't seem to glance much at the rune carver's tools, but they glance over towards the ring on your finger.
That's Well, it's not on his finger at the moment. He
Oh.
has to wear it around his neck on a chain.
Sorry, glances over towards your neck.
Oh, that's what I came to talk about. As he sort of pulls the chain out from under his armor to hang over it.
Kind of holds out his hand for the ring.
Takes off the chain and passes it over.
It can't be. Oh, Angrim. Do you realize what you hold here?
It was the Ashbite signet ring, and I killed a slotty thing in it, big nasty mouth fished man, and prayed for some help, and then there was a hammer, and then there was the ring.
Aye, you hold the key to a past once thought entirely lost here. This ring that I hold in my hands, indeed this was the true form of Nogdur Ashbite's signet ring.
That sounds right.
For the longest time I've studied the history of such an item, how it came to be. There are stories of his personal runesmith about how it is said that he created the ring and many other items, including the ceremonial axe and plate mail for Nogdur.
Well, he made him with those, as he points to the sets that he's holding.
Kind of takes the rune carver's tools and sort of examines them.
Maybe made two of them with this, but the ring, that's something else entirely. See, some believe it was all three. The ring, the axe, the plate mail, this entire cursed raiment that drove him into madness. But there's also evidence to suggest it was not Ron who forged the ring, but rather he called upon dark gods to transform the ring from an implement of creation to an implement of destruction. It was the axe and the plate he crafted soon after which completed the raiment. A set with a new crux. But now, from what I've seen, the raiment can no longer be complete. It seems the ring has been purified, but this unlocks the potential to discover or create a new raiment, a new set.
That's a bit heavy news. Well, I can't say that's all bad. It's just... Oh. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, months ago, the princess came to me bearing Halfbane, the axe of Nogdur. But you recovered. Your friends recovered from the darkest recesses of the underground. She told me about a presence trapped within and wished to destroy it. But we couldn't. Still, some sort of hungering presence within. Tell me more about this. What did you call it? Slotty?
Seeing a terrible hunger, mouths, writhing flesh of muscle and blood and whatnot. Incredibly angry, lived in the rain, had to fight it to take it off. The big blew in, and then when I tried to take it off, had to fight it and then banish it with a spell, and then terrible tethers, and had to pray for, a great hammer to emerge from the sky roof and actually strike it down. It was a horrible monster that, honestly, words fail to describe, because nothing really is like it that walks along the world.
You banished it.
Aye.
And is that how you returned to its original form? Ring.
I do believe.
Now that you banished it, the ring has revealed its true form, that is to say, Angrim. This is what the signet ring once was. Now the hammer is also of a similar make. Not cursed as far as I'm aware, but its power is locked away behind the rite that's unknown to me. All I can tell you is that it seeks the Rune Lord to reawaken it. But
And his brow furrows once more as he thinks.
there is one piece missing from here. One more from its original set. The nature of which I do not know. And I do not believe that half-being bears that mark.
I can't say that going forward with this will be easy. Not truly clear what to do. But if there's a way to remove a mark if it's there, or reforge something, as you say, it sort of feels like a responsibility of mine now. If I brought you in here, then it's in my best responsibility to, well, carry the burden that was given.
I would hardly call this a burden, Angrim. This is the ring of the Rune Lord, crafted to honour an oath, a pact.
Oh,
It is not my place to reveal the nature of that oath. Not yet, at least. That it seems the ancestral gods answered your plea to dash away the darkness of this ring. It says to me that this is a path that only you can walk. And they may reveal the nature of this oath to you in time. All I can say is that a name will be revealed, and a title will be given. Once you learn that name, when you earn that title, return here and speak with me.
Very well. I will figure out what that is and what that means. Thought it wouldn't be easy. I was thinking this may be a burden. You say it's not, but it's starting to sound more and more like it is. But an adventure in equal parts. He holds out his hand for a shake.
I mean, that's once more the sort of hunter's forearm grip, and he's the runes across his arm sort of pulse.
Aye.
The gods have
Easy.
chosen a journey for you. It's up to you to take it. Cannot force that journey upon you.
Well, if it's given, it's my duty. And I must do what must be done. Oh, I'm left with many questions. I'll do my best to figure them out. Because I have to figure out what best to do to expand that sort of knowledge of runes and magic and curses on my way to hopefully get a better understanding now, but perhaps there's something more I might be able to learn for a wee bit of time. Kind of walks about the area, goes through the shelves, and is looking at the wee trinkets like the little statues. Picks up a statue, sets it down, picks up a thing. These all seem kind of important. Very ceremonial, big items, but picks up a little thing. Maybe I could practice on one of these and get a lesson. Because he's looking over the various little items.
Well, those are just small projects that I've been conceptualizing for the best part of a couple of years. I never even got around to starting most of them, let alone finishing them. They've just been collecting dust there for a while now.
Maybe I can study and work on some of these. You have the little children's toys and the little statues and the little building blocks.
He kind of raises a brow. When you talk about building blocks, what are you referring to?
I see a little block, little cube on the shelf. I'll pick that up. The little child's building block, you know, the letters on it. It kind of reminds him of that.
Oh, building block. Oh, no, lad. It's quite different from a simple building block. Picture this. Imagine, if you will, the ability to create a small fortress in the span of a single minute with naught but a spoken word.
I think I'll have no choice but to imagine that. Even I, with all my magic, can't quite do that.
Well, what you hold in your hand there is that's what I like to call Dengar's Instant Fortress. Just throw that, or at least what I had in my plans, just throw that down, speak the command word, a small fortress will appear before you. A fortress that can fit in your pocket, a fortress as mighty resilient as adamantine.
He's kind of looking at that. That's a lot sturdier than a tent.
Well, bear in mind, the only catch is the fortress isn't as, it's not as resilient to damage as most magic items are. It'll still be damaged like most fortifications. The only trouble is once the damage is done, it'll take a bloody well near miracle to repair it, but sadly that's a trade-off, or at least that's the conclusion I came to in researching how to make this thing in the first place.
Kinda looks at it. He's pinching and holding it. With a little pointer in the thumb with each hand, but the other fingers roll. You ever get it working?
No, the schematics for this thing are finished, but I've just not quite had the time to pick it back up. But if I ever do, it'll be a project of blood, sweat, tears, and a lot of pride.
You know how I mentioned how my friend was not doing too well?
Aye?
Yeah. Keep this between us, but the lad got sort of swept away from our camp for a while. And not by a beautiful woman. And right now I'm in a leather tent in a campfire and some logs. And the wizard's got something they call a magic alarm. That didn't stop us then, and now we're going into a jungle with giant lizard with teeth.
Oh, you're going to Tanzia. Right, I see.
So this seems quite useful. What if I help you actually finish this beyond theory?
He kind of raises a brow, strokes his beard for a moment and looks you up and down. Takes a long moment to think.
I tell you what. You've proven yourself to be a capable smith and engineer. If your steam hammer is anything to go by, I'm sure Gundrim is proud. Gundrim is proud, and so is friend Grugnir. But the monetary requirements to preserve this secret site are quite significant. From what I've heard, you're doing quite well for yourself. If you'd be willing to make a donation to the Doonhart Cathedral, so we might be able to hire a large team of masons to do some work around the Doonhart district, maybe say somewhere in the range of 180 to 200 slats or 30-ish platinum ingots, I'd be more than happy to part with this. I'd only ask that you'd look after it and give it the love it deserves. And who knows,
Sorry?
180 to 200 slats.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, somewhere in the range of 180,
Yep.
18,000 to 200,000, 20,000. There we go.
Got it.
I'm more than happy to part of this. I only ask that you look after it, give the love it deserves. Who knows, labour of love does nothing if it sits idle gathering dust on a weapon rack or an armour stand. Needs to be up there in the field seeing use. Doon hates the idle.
Wait, do you mean to say this is actually finished? I thought this was still just a prototype work in theory. I'm sorry, I guess all the knowledge from the smithings muddied me brain. Is this done?
No, it's not done. It's just the bare bones enchantments there. You see, the schematics call for the creation of a full-sized tower. I've barely gotten past the foundations. Thankfully, it's all contained in that tiny little cube in your hand there. I've gotten the enchantment to the point where all you'd really need is a skilled spellcaster to get the foundations out of there. Someone who's capable of magically enlarging or shrinking things, which is also the spell that the schematics require. Just bear in mind, I know you like to travel. plan on working on this on the road, I'd recommend finding a safe place to work on it. Until it's finished, it'll not have its protective enchantments to give it the resilience it needs. Any construction material you use will, until then, be non-magical and subject to all that entails.
And he sort of sets it down, and he wiggles a finger. I want this. Let me get in touch with someone, because I cannot do. I can't shrink things. I think I know someone who can, and I need a little bit of their time anyway. Tell you what, he's gonna reach into his bag, and he's gonna pull out one of his big old diamonds. It's the fucking large diamond worth 5,000 gold.
Ah.
Here's a deposit to not let it run away. I'm gonna go get some more money. Can you hold it for, say, a couple 10 day?
Couple 10 day? Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Couple of 10 days. Just about 20 days.
Right, okay.
Two, 3 weeks.
Alright, can do.
And he kind of takes the diamond, places that small cube back on the shelf.
Well, I'll be back for that. Thank you for everything you've taught me and all that you've shared today. Even if it's some world-shaking news. Despite being as cryptic and vague as it is, I understand why. And I'm equal parts frustrated and grateful that I don't know, because that's another grand adventure in front of me.
Sadly,
Thank you, Denver.
the rune that the ancestor gods are rarely clear with their messages. It's up to us to interpret them.
I get that, and I have these terrible nightmares where I'm walking across a lake of lava, hitting an anvil, and if I do it wrong, I turn into fucking silver dust and die. That's not very clear now, is it?
Kind of strokes his beard for a moment.
Perhaps a message of self-improvement.
Perhaps so. Or I thought so, at least. Either way, I'm gonna go catch up. It's been several hours and I gotta get the news back to Liska. Thank you. I'll return.
Very well. Good to hear you, to see you again. Angrim.
Absolute. Oh. I forgot. I should come clean about something. Arngrim's me nickname. You can keep calling me it if you want. Birth name's Angus. In a moment of weakness, I decided to make up a pretend name like all the great heroes have, since being called a little baked meat pie didn't seem too hero-y. But it's my name and I'm proud of it, and it's not right to sort of hide that way. But you can call me whichever you wish. I just want you to know the truth of me and not some pretend ideal.
Well, you know what? I have more respect for someone who's not a pretender. You have my respect for coming out of that.
That went better than I thought. Thank you. And, sorry. I wasn't trying to lie to you so much as myself. But, oh, shit, I'm losing track of the time. It's already been almost 5 hours. I've got...
It's been 3, but I'll see you soon.
It's been 3?
Eh?
I thought it's been 5.
Well,
I've been having so much fun chatting that, to be honest, I've lost track of the time. But
I'll see you
I'm
soon.
gonna head out. I'll send you a message and keep you updated. Oh, and he kind of grabs back his hammer and all the little things. Can't forget these if I'm gonna be practicing. And it seems like he's very, like, airheaded, a lot of stuff going on in the noggin right now. A little overwhelmed with information. Take care, my friend. And, no dereliction of duty from you either, right? And he quirks an eyebrow.
You've heard about Brasheim, I take it.
I saw him, helped him pack.
Aye,
Gave
poor
him a new
lad.
job, but that's between us. And don't you go losing your job too, because it's going to be a real pain in the ass for you to build a second Doonheart forge over in the temple.
Aye. I'll keep doing my job. You're doing yours.
Good. Until next time, my friend.
It gives you a nod. And once more,
Nod.
one final shake of the arm.
And waddle back to the group and over their earring. I'm coming back. It took longer than I thought, man. Multiple scenes that I'm in back to back, and I don't want to hog the session time.
You're fucking fine.
Yeah, most people seem a bit out of it today.
Yeah, you're fine.
I don't want it to just be I play the game.
Yeah. Shall we pan over to Dejar?
Yes.
Indeed.
Right, so Dejar, you're trying to do, remind me again?
Trying to find someone to help me with, contacting my ancestor. Duskweave. Dustvane. Yeah.
Okay. So, with your background feature of ear to the ground, you gather those who work with Duskvane, be it recreational use or actual sort of religious use for the contacting of your ancestors, as the Naga people are often wont to do with Duskvane itself. I mean, regardless, you're working with Duskvane, so it's going to be a sort of criminal underground deal. Kind of asking around, your trail actually leads you back to that individual whom you originally purchased the Duskvane from.
Motherfucker.
Time for more drugs.
Be a drug trip today.
And the name Kajesh comes up quite a bit.
Can you write that down for me? So
I can.
Alright.
Kajesh. Kashjesh.
Yes, got it.
Kajesh. Yes.
Yes.
Khajiit, motherfucker.
Oops.
Okay, so as you kind of follow one rather shady individual whom you're sort of conversing with about this in a very sort of closed off area, sort of back alley of the Gemstone Quarter. You are led down a series of small, tight alleyways that continually venture downwards, further down into the city, where you can only imagine at some point you're going to enter into the Underhollows, and maybe like 100 feet down, 200 feet down, further into the dark recesses of the underbelly of this city. And you're starting to notice not just the lack of iron guard, but also the lack of black hand guard. Among these labyrinthine halls and crisscrossing bridges and sort of ramshackle stone abodes, sort of haphazardly carved and stacked among each other. You're led to that familiar dingy den where you actually purchased that Dusk's Vein, and as you peel back a sort of beaded curtain, you're met with this blue puff of smoke as this sort of dingy hovel, or at least the lack of light in this dingy hovel sort of dawns upon you. You have to kind of wave your hand away, sort of briefly cough for a moment, and you see the familiar sort of dark leathered, dark robed individual with the kind of hooded across the Naga individual. This sort of large hood cloaking much of his face. He himself is sort of like a cobra hood. Has a sort of viper aesthetic to him. Tail bit larger than yours. He's fairly large overall. Bit pot-bellied as well. And you gather, probably deals a lot with this sort of criminal element of the Dusk Vein industry in the underbellies.
You okay? You have returned. How can Kajesh help you? Have you come for more?
No, the Jarl wants to find someone to aid her in a ritual. Contact the ancestors. My trail led back to you somehow.
Kind of raises a brow at the mention of contacting the ancestors. Then he looks around as two tall bodyguards sort of seem to emerge from the shadows, two human individuals which you hadn't previously seen before. And he looks to them.
Here, is this?
And gestures, kind of nods ahead to the exterior, presumably sort of telling them to scarper, and they quickly obey, leaving the both of you two alone in this hovel. He listens intently to what you're about to say.
The Jarl has been through a lot. Been cursed thrice, and needs some spiritual guidance on her journey.
Yes, you have been through a lot. That is why Dusk Vein helps. Just relieve the stress.
The Jarl just looks at him. Eyes are just gives off this very cold, calculating look. And he takes off the disguise, the mask of disguise, and her natural scales come back.
Oh, so she was disguised earlier.
Yes.
As who? As what?
A green tree boa.
Tree but oh right, okay. So he wouldn't have said, you've returned. It's okay. So please establish next time, like prior, that you're disguising yourself.
Alright.
Oh, it is you.
Yes. I've been rather serious on this matter. I do not joke on this.
He's going to make an insight check. Because you've just revealed yourself from disguise, and you can sense there's that immediate sort of distrust in the air.
Very well. So, is it precisely that you wish to contact the ancestors? Or is it something else? Was that mere innuendo?
No, God really wants to contact the ancestors.
Very well. One moment.
With that, he kind of picks himself up from his sort of den of various pillows that kind of lie around the ground that sort of cradle his enormous snake tail in his body. He kind of slithers his way around one of the back rooms and brings back what looks like this series of small sticks of incense and a small platter, a number of small trinkets and odds and ends that you recognise these as spell components.
You look as though you've seen this spell before.
I have.
And you know what to do.
Closes her eyes and takes a sigh. Okay. Pulls her neck and pulls up to sit down.
He sort of coils up and sits down before you.
You see, the thing about us, our kind, we need not the rigorous training and religious practice that comes with this spell when it comes to Duskvane. It is our unique nature. Have you ever cast the commune spell before?
I have not, but I know someone. I've seen another, before. So I
Have you
know
watched
how it
them?
works.
Very well.
Be my guest.
And he kind of gestures his hands out towards you. And he begins this, under his breath, this series of small utterances in serpent tongue that you understand as a sort of serpent tongue prayer. And you can tell he seems to be preparing or awaiting your casting of this spell.
Right. Second.
So while you don't have this spell on your list as a as a wizard. But the funny thing about Duskvane and Nagas is that Duskvane acts very similarly to a magic item with charges. Meaning you can cast this from a sort of pouch of Duskvane once per day. The commune spell.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a 5th level spell, isn't it? Okay. So, as you orient the incense, the Duskvane across the ground in front of you, you begin to sort of you plant that stick of incense in this bowl of Duskvane that you've oriented in front of you. You begin to light it. You take a moment. Listen for a minute, and you watch as gradually this plume of purple blue mist begins to arise from the bowl. Envelops your head, envelops both him and you, and begins to create this haze throughout the chamber. And you begin to feel presences, multiple presences. The walls begin to shift and warp, and the image of the entire chamber begins to fade from your vision. Just you and him. You concentrate on his hymn, his prayer, filtering everything else out from your mind. And as you sense that presence, what do you ask? 3 questions, yes or no.
The yard takes at least a minute viewing the questions in our mind, or one pops up. The path I am on, is it the one I'm meant for?
The presences return with a... how would I phrase this? The presences return with a cautious, positive wind, like the warm air of a desert night, rather than the typically cold air, like a pleasant change. Though they are cautious.
Gar smiles a bit. The next question. Will the Yar have to face her darker self this path?
This answer is a bit more complex. It comes to you with shifting and changing winds. You hear faint hissing whispers, like individuals that are sort of passing your ears. These constantly shifting and changing voices being cut off from different words being sort of spliced together. And the answer generally comes back with this idea of, if you're not careful, yes. Didn't repeat that.
That answer gives her much pause for her third and final question.
What's your final question?
Takes a moment trying to phrase it in a more solid way. Has my actions put my loved ones in danger?
The wind comes back with a worrying affirmative. That sort of clammy warmth that sort of sticks to you in the desert night.
Yara just takes a huge breath, not of relief, but of worry. Thank you, Ancestors.
Sorry, what was that?
He said, "Thank you, Ancestors, for the answers. At least some idea."
As you say that, that presence recedes. The walls stop shifting and come back into view, and you feel this almost this sort of euphoria wash over you as you come back into awareness. Everything still feels a bit fuzzy here and there, but you can definitely tell you're back in the real world. It's at that point that Kajesh says, "Welcome back. Have you found what you seek?"
That and more I was not expecting.
None of us truly expect what the ancestors tell us.
He shakes her head, just trying to get out of the haze.
Now, considering that you are of kin and this was us sharing a moment together, shall we say, I shall not charge a price. Next time, be sure to arrive with gold in your pocket.
Looks at him, nods, and regardless of them being kin, will leave 10 platinum prominent just before getting up, and then leaving the room.
And very silently, and almost as if you never did it in the first place, Kajesh just simply takes the platinum in his hand, sort of, disappears it within his sort of formed obscuring robes. Gives you a nod on the way out. Come again soon, is all you hear as you push your way through the beaded entryway.
Goes back up the way he came, and
Alright.
heads back to the Hunter's Keep.
Okay. So, does anyone else want to do anything here? Because it seems like a lot of people are dropping off because they don't feel well.
I
don't
was
think we should
actually
gonna-
about to also go.
Ah, okay.
I'm sorry, I was
gonna
like head,
go
I was like
through,
head desk for a second.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
this.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Hello, okay. Now
Wanna do
might
something?
work. Yeah, I was just gonna go to the because Grunka's still in the Hunter's Keep.
Mhm.
So Grunka's gonna go to one of the pools
Oh.
and he's gonna find one that's on the larger side. That's like at least 10 feet. Would have 10 cubes of water.
Mhm.
And it's gonna find one that has water in it, and then it's just gonna sit there and fish for a bit.
Oh. Okay.
Let's see if I see.
Oh, is this a sort of magic item?
Hang on. Let's see. Oh, damn. Okay.
Oh. What?
Nothing happens.
Okay. So you spend a moment there.
But
So-
he spends an hour
Okay.
just kind of fishing, but he's learning,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Okay then. Spend a moment there, sort of letting your mind wander off, thinking about the travels that you've had with your allies, and this strange world they call the Surface. You're very, very far from home.
Yeah, this place is pretty fucked up. Grunka's just sitting there on like a bar or something while people are like walking around
Mm-hmm.
in the bath, and he's just sitting there with a fishing rod in just a bathtub. Well, it's a pool, but you know.
A couple
just
of
sits there, like,
a couple of hunters are there. So, are you outside the keep or inside or?
nah, I assume it's like one of the baths inside of the keep.
Oh, okay. Couple of individuals sort of walk past the entry to the bathhouse. And they sort of do a double take as they see someone fishing in there, and they sort of blink and try not to question it and just move on.
Yeah. Yeah, Grunka just kind of sits there and think for a bit. Actually, hang on. Oh, okay, I can keep doing it.
Oh. Okay.
So how long was Angrim gone for? Like 3 hours?
3 hours, yeah. So you can do it 3 times. So twice more.
Damn.
Okay. Nothing happens.
Okay. I'm genuinely curious now.
Don't worry about it. Something will happen at some point.
At some point. Okay.
Some
Okay.
point. Yeah. So yeah, that's what Skrunka does.
Okay.
And he maybe thinks for a bit and be like, damn, that sounds pretty dumb. Guy, what's that about? Stupid thing.
As Webby sort of nestles up to you and sort of crawls around the other side of the bath, seemingly just waiting for something to happen as you're fishing away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, Webby. Man, it's very steamy in here. You know, we should really talk to Valium and Angum or something. Maybe see if we can get you some armor. Yeah, just something to be like, you know, could be kind of nice to have. Because I did get that saddle. See if we can make that fit you. Would be nice, yeah. Maybe we can start taking some riding lessons then. Because you're starting to get pretty big. Yeah. Yeah, you're starting to eat a lot too. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing that Angus has a big meat locker. Yeah. I hope there's gonna be some good game in the whatever that place we're going. I heard they said they got some pretty big stuff over there, so hopefully it's gonna be good food. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so.
Sort of hungrily clacks his mandibles together.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm starting to get hungry too. We should probably go eat some. Yeah. Let's see. Gurgur's gonna reel in his fishing rod. He's gonna put it back in his bag of holding, and then Ian Webby's gonna go and get some grub.
Okay.
And then some actual food.
It's just a grub just crawling around the hunter's keep somewhere.
Singular. The hunt for the grub.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so easy enough to do. The hunter's keep does sell a number of rudimentary meals. Nothing too extravagant. That's sort of the realm of like the Golden Lodge, where they might sell like gold filigree, gold fucking steak.
No. I don't really eat metal, so
Yeah.
it's okay. I just do some because I'm more of a simple meal person anyway.
Okay.
Doesn't even have to be cooked.
So I say just go ahead and mark off like 5 copper or something.
Okay, hang on. Do I even have copper? Yeah, I do. Okay. Hey, pie salesman, here's the gold.
Oh shit!
I got seconds here. I just have platinum.
Yeah, just have an entire platinum slab, why don't you?
Yeah. But yeah, no. It's yeah. He just kind of has a little bit of a nice time with Webby. He kind of actually he starts doing a thing, and then goes to a library. Is there such a thing in here?
Library.
Library.
Biggest one would probably be the Sapphire Archives.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess he goes there.
All right, making your way over to the Sapphire Archives. Do you want to pay a silver for a goat cart, so you don't have to walk there? I'm just going to walk there.
Yeah, we can go in the cart.
Okay. So just mark off a silver.
Okay. Sweet. 2 of those. But
Okay.
when we're here, Grunka is going to have a look and see if he can find some books on riding,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically spider riding, if he can find anything.
Spider
Otherwise,
riding. So,
Yeah.
riding isn't too difficult to find. Yeah, books on. It's mainly like horse riding, goat riding, but spider riding. That'd be more difficult. I'll say, because in the Sapphire Archives here, you are assigned an archivist to help you research these things. I'll say, just go ahead and make an investigation check with advantage.
Okay,
Or
investigation.
Or if you like, you can have the archivist take the initiative here.
Well, I'm gonna assume that person has more than 8 intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let him do the rolling. Because
Alright.
I got a minus 1. I
So,
don't know books. You do
with
books, you work.
your assistance, you can do d20 plus about 4-ish, I'll say.
I'm a worker, you worker. You can find the book.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah, with advantage. Hang on. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Isn't that 20? It isn't that 20.
Yeah, 20. Okay, so for a total of 24, the archivist does indeed take the initiative here. Sort of like empathizing with you, as I imagine Grunka seems a bit overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge and books here.
All these papers making me sneeze.
Yeah, lot of paper, lot of squiggly words.
A lot of dust.
Yeah.
A lot of weird flat books. Why you use paper? Why don't you just use the rock?
Yeah.
Or just slab of mushroom? It doesn't burn. Well, I mean, it kind of does, but you kind of imagine it.
Well, you see, stone tablets, and scribing them on stone tablets takes quite a while to do, my friend.
Well, I mean, you in a hurry?
Well, I'm personally not, but I don't inscribe any texts here. Never mind. Come this way. I know. I think I know what you want.
Okay. I hope you do, because you work here. I hope.
He just kind of sighs to himself, and you both make your way through the sort of various dingy and dusty corners of the vast archives of the Sapphire Assembly, until you eventually come upon sort of what's that? Sort of like a sort of animal husbandry section, where you actually find a number of odd books sort of tucked away in a corner. One of them appears to be indeed a book on spider riding.
The other ones are not allowed to be in the server.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why people would wanna be husbands to animal, maybe, but people are weird.
That's not exactly what it means.
Well, I mean, it's what it says. Literally what it says.
That's not okay. Look, here's what you're probably looking for.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the book.
It seems to be a book authored by a deep dwarf on the various techniques of taming large sort of giant spiders and riding them for say beasts of burden, or kitting them out for war. typically deals with spiders, species of spiders that come from the deep dark. Some of these spider species are actually fairly familiar to you.
Oh, I know that one. Oh, and that one. Oh, I like those. They're pretty. Anyway, but look at the legs on that one.
And you kind of point out this large illustration of a fairly familiar species of spider to you. It's called a steeder.
Oh, okay, one of these. Oh, I used to
Looks-
ride these babies for miles.
Looks very much like this in the party chat there.
Yeah, you're big boys.
Mhm.
And I guess girls actually. The boys are actually very small.
Yeah.
Kind of the size of a pole, but you know the women get real big. Yeah, which is kind of convenient that the top of their back is like kind of hollowed out. You can put stuff in it. It's very like it's almost like it was meant to be. Very convenient. Yeah. Yeah. Although they're not really they're good for they're not really like wall and ceiling climbers. They're a bit too heavy for that, at least when they're adults. Yeah, it's how it is, but I think we should be fine with this. Let's see. Yeah, let's see here. I'm just gonna specifically look through the book and see if he can find anything specific about saddles.
Saddles. There are a... Oh. Specifically what?
Huh?
He said specifically something.
Yeah, specifically saddles.
Okay. There are a number of chapters about certain types of saddles for different species of spider. Typically, when it comes to say lighter spiders, such as wolf spiders, they typically require lighter saddles than most, since they are smaller creatures, not as hardy as say a steeder. Metal armor generally for spiders is probably a no-go. Too heavy for them to actually stick to walls. They probably need lighter barding, such as barding made from leather or cloth or something similar. It also goes into the different techniques of tying these unique saddles to spiders. There's very different techniques needed to saddle a spider than say a horse or a ram or any other sort of four-legged creature.
Yeah, they kind of have double the legs.
Yeah.
And like 3 times less body.
Mm-hmm. But this manual, this account almost sort of doubles as this autobiography for this steeder rider. Goes into. Oh,
No, I said I see.
Goes into detail about his obsession with spiders from a young age. Then goes into his sort of personal life, raising and sort of breeding spiders of different species. Seems to be a very experienced individual with this sort of thing, and you kind of think, perfect.
I see. Let's see.
However, typically in the Sapphire Assembly, they don't allow books to be taken out for renting or purchase, lest they be damaged or, at worst, destroyed.
see. I'm just gonna take out. Could I get some paper and maybe a piece of coal?
Of course. One moment. And with that, the archivist kind of makes his way off. Does come back with a few sheets of paper, a few charcoal nubs for you to write on. Actually, rather, this is the Sapphire Archive. He comes back with a pot of ink and a quill for you.
I don't know what this is.
It's a pot. It's ink and a quill. You write with it.
How?
I'll go grab the charcoal. And he sort of resigns himself, makes his way off, comes back with charcoal for you.
Thank you. Grunke kinda takes one of the bits of coal to like the table and like cracks it a bit until it gets like a sharp point.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's gonna like start scribbling in a language the curator have no idea what it is. It looks like weird squiggles. That's also weirdly like angular.
Deepling
He's
runes.
he's gonna scratch down a bit and then he's gonna like
Much like the stone scritches of old.
Yeah, it's more like scratching than actual writing. But he's gonna like do a bit of that, and he's gonna look at like one of the images or diagrams or whatever. He's gonna copy as best he can.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna look over and see specifically the armor section. He's gonna look a bit for like maybe ideas about all different spider armors. Kind of look over at Webby a bit and be like, and just kind of write some stuff down. Okay, I think this should be enough. Okay.
Alrighty.
The table is a mess, by the way. There's like coal dust and like coal chunks everywhere. There's like a couple of pieces of paper that's like scratch holes through that he had to take new ones. It's just a bit of a mess.
No, you keep on the paper, please.
Oh yeah, right. See, it's so.
No, not like that. Like
it's so.
keep it here.
It's so thin. I keep it. I'm not used to this stuff.
I'll go get a broom.
Okay. Have fun.
He gets a broom, comes back, tries his best to clean up after you. You gather he's at this point a little sick of your shenanigans, and he's just trying to hurry you along as best he can. He's just trying to do his job.
Okay, well I'm trying to do mine. Okay, it's good. Okay, thanks. Got some thinking to do. And then it's kind of like wanders off.
You just wander off. You leave him to clean up all the charcoal chunks and dust and all the mess across the table. Yeah.
Okay.
You just hear a as you make your way off.
I don't. You're just kind of like lean over to Webby. Like, I don't think he likes his job very much. Okay, I got some ideas. Gotta talk to William and Angrim later on. Probably, I already know what they're doing. I wasn't really listening, but yeah, I gotta talk to them when we meet up at some point. Maybe Sao too. I don't know. We'll see if she would be able to help. Yeah, I have some ideas, I guess. Okay, let's you know what, I'm hungry again. Let's go get some more food.
Alright. Webby chirps happily at the idea of food. You make your way off, just somewhere to grab some food.
I remember I noticed an area in that part of town, like last time we were here. I think I remember where it is. Let's see if it's still there, and then I'm just gonna like wander off somewhere, and now someone else can do something.
All right. So we've got we've got 3 people down because most people here, because half the party are not feeling very well. So what we can do, we can just have a shorter session here. I guess we can finish off with, say, Dejar, you DM'd me, wanted to do something.
Yep.
Okay.
And he makes it back to Hunter's Keep.
All right.
I want to probably find a room for herself first, and then making sure the door is locked. Going to cast a sending spell to Varesh first.
All right. Do you cast a sending spell connecting your mind to another's through the ether? The spell does hold, so Varesh does seem to be alive.
Varesh, we are safe. Travel to Dune Hollow to resupply and rest before traveling again. Most of us rest in the Hunter's Keep. One is in the Golden Lodge. Maybe.
A reply comes through. I was wondering when I'd hear your voice again. Very well. I believe I do owe you all some money, as a retainer fee at least, some of you. I shall be in Dawn Hollow soon.
Yar will immediately write a little note to make sure to have that in mind, and to tell everyone in the party once they meet up. Setting that aside, he will contact Borealis. Boris, Jar is well and with friends. House Mordafax is destroyed, aided by the Kalia and the Gatekeepers. Jar wants to learn ruin crafting at Orichalcos. Please, Dad? And he says that in the last part in the most endearing way.
Sorry, I'm just looking through the word counter myself. I'm just gonna pause here and I'll... Okay, so the reply comes from Borealis. It's that sort of deep baritone voice.
Dejar, happy to hear your voice. Glad you're alive. It's fantastic news. Celebrative. I will let Ethritax know. Runecraft? Indeed. Perhaps you are ready.
And that's the reply.
And the last one is to Ida. Here. Give me 1 second.
Yep.
Oh, did you record?
Yep. I did unpause the recording.
Okay, cool,
As he replied.
Give me 1 second.
Right. As you cast that spell, seeking out that individual that you know as Ida ul Nerim. The spell catches. She is indeed unharmed as well.
Trying to make sure it's the exact amount of words.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna pause the recording. You send her what message?
I have another request. When we get to a safe place, this one wants to learn the skill to craft new spells.
All right.
Prepare correctly.
The reply comes from Ida. The voice is her voice is surprised, and she carries herself with that air of dignity in this, which is familiar to her in this sort of brief months that you've known her. Happy to hear you've not died in the Mobog. I do know quite a bit about spellcraft. Working on one myself. I can teach you.
At that moment, Duhiara is furiously writing in her own little journal to make sure that she is dot her I's and cross her T's. So if anyone, well, more or less to remind herself and not forget on occasion.
All right. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
How much time has passed since Angus has been doing this thing, and I got back from my drug trip?
Oh, it's not been long. Maybe about 30 odd minutes or so. So you've got some time to spare, but if you like, we can skip over that until next session.
Yeah, he'll be just trying to put more spells in her book, but we can do that next session for sure.
Okay then. So that can be something that can be done between sessions. You've got about a good couple of hours.
Yeah, I could probably
spells worth.
I could probably do 2 or 3 spells if I play it right.
Okay. Oh, did you want to do it from the Black Journal?
Oh yes,
Morthax's journal.
yes.
Okay. All
I
right.
can find out some more entries later on.
Yeah, then. Let me go ahead and. Okay, so that's casting True Sight, and I think it was Tongues, wasn't? Not Tongues. Comprehend Languages.
Yep.
All right then. So in that previous bit of knowledge that you gathered, there was not told the others yet, but you do kind of keep it in your mind. You have to. It's kind of telling about how Mortithax, after acquiring her own lair deep within the secluded confines of the Drothmore Wilds, Mortithax continues to write about her studies. She recounts experiments on small creatures. Nothing that the necromantic arts... noting that the necromantic arts seem to come naturally to her. She begins to chronicle changes in her physicality over the years. She contemplates whether or not this is because of her tampering with the forces of life and death, or whether it's because of her mixed lineage. Mortithax kind of writes with revulsion at the thought of it being a half-breed, and writes fondly about the idea of removing every last remnant of her father's night dragon lineage from herself. She begins to detail more and more obscure forms of necromancy, specifically blood magic. If her night dragon blood came from her father's side, she writes, perhaps removing it, and thus her night dragon traits, would erase her father's lineage entirely. There's more pages and complex folded notes exploring the risks of such a ritual, which accompany other macabre and annotated anatomical sketches of the dead, corpses both fresh and old. Most notable here is that she's begun to experiment with blood magic on captured humanoids, goblins, dwarves, humans, and halflings mostly. That's what you keep in your mind as you read this next part. Judging by the more advanced spells being written down here, her skill at weaving the energies of death quickly excels, and within the span of a decade, she attempts to study the secrets of more complex spells such as clone. Mortithax eventually begins to experiment with other substances to enhance her magical potency. She begins to study the possibilities of erudite, using what she describes as very personal knowledge of primordial dragons. She begins to theorize that if primordial dragons can devour and absorb magic, can true dragons regain the ability to do so? Later notes and annotated sigils used in alchemy indicate that some advanced herbal and alchemical studies, these studies begin to sort of delve into grisly and gruesome experiments on local wildlife. Sketches of various mutations are numerous throughout these pages, and she makes notes of nearby erudite sources. Most notably one in Cliffspire. A common occurrence throughout all of these mutations is an increase in size. And you try to read more before the true sight wears off, as does the comprehend languages spell.
Zahara is rubbing her eyes, not only from the prolonged use of true sight, but she figured as much. This was going as exactly what she pieced together. Not this far. Oh boy. He quickly, as he was reading it, transcribed it into straight tongue, and looks over the papers. You've been a very, very busy woman.
Perhaps this is something to inform the party.
It definitely is going to inform the party. Like, definitely. This is enlightening and worrisome all at the same time.
And with that, we'll end the session there.
Alright.
Bit of a short one, but yeah, half the party is down for the count, so it'll be a shorter one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
The final important question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Did Grunker catch that fish?
That's indeed.
At some point.
That's the big one. Did he get the big one?
Mm.
I like to, if he's like in a bathing pool, he just like fishes up some like heart pattern boxers. Somewhere there's a dwarf going, "Oi!" running out of the bathhouse, covering his below ground braid.
Yeah.
You mean his beard is long enough? You mean his beard is long enough for that?
Okay. I'm gonna stop recording in 3, 2, 1.